Welcome to the last call, where we try to clear up many of the misinformation concerning the drone community.
Make a head pop.
Well, hello to everyone out there. This is Dre, Recovery One Drones. I know this is not my regular day or time slot, but I saw a gap in the regular broadcast schedule and decided to jump on a little early. So some of you who, especially on the East Coast or maybe over across the pond, will be able to catch this before you call tonight. I wanted to discuss some things, obvious things that are going out there in the drone community. And I've been watching several videos. The first one that caught my eye was Ken Dono down in Florida, who announced that he didn't receive his Air 3S as a early influencer or reviewer due to a custom situation. Well, when it first came out, I, like him, thought there was just maybe some kind of shipping mishandling or whatever else. But as the story unfolds, that something more is afoot here. And even though we haven't got down to the nitty gritty, this is just my rant based upon some things, being a commercial operator, being a drone business person myself. I don't own a brick and mortar place, but I'm going to cover things from that angle and how something like this plays or trickle down to those individuals who do have brick and mortar stores. and how situations like this can affect them and affect the drone community, the drone industry overall. So, like I said, I'm going to get right into this right away. But first of all, I have to also acknowledge my sponsor. Anytime I come on, I have to acknowledge Air Data. I'm one who is a big advocate of using Air Data at all times to not just log all my flights, but also check the weather conditions pre-flight and also get information on my drones during flight. I get emails and everything else sent to me when there's something that does not appear on my screen. It's a more intuitive, more in-depth app that lets you be able to keep maintenance of your drone.
Last call is sponsored by Air Data, world's most trusted flight data platform. Use promo code Recovery1Drone20 for 20% discount on your subscription.
All right, so let's get into it. As I start off, the first information I saw was from Ken Dono about the holdup on customs on his Air 3S there in Florida, which was supposed to show up sometime on the first week of October. Just like many other influencers out there, reviewers out there who received theirs. And that's part of the problem I foresee what's going on. To give you a back date of what occurred, we're going to look at this right here. U.S. Customs and Border Protection is concerning the pronounced Uyghur Forced Labor Protection Act. And it talks about how the U.S. government will not allow any products that are made or being manufactured in this province of China under basically slave labor. They call it forced labor, but forced labor is exactly what it is, slave labor. Okay. And on the surface, we would say, oh, this is a good way for us to apply pressure to China, make sure they're not abusing any of those they consider less than themselves. China is predominantly, we call it a humongous, that's the proper word, I might be pronouncing it wrong, society, but in the far western provinces of China, you do have other cultures that blend in from the nearby other countries, and these people have been there for hundreds of years. So this oppression by the Chinese government is not something recent or new. It has been ongoing, and they have been using these tactics against these people for quite some time, trying to keep them, basically oppress them, keep them under their thumb, the CCP's thumb. So back in December of 2021, this act came through our government, was signed off by the House and the Senate, and was signed into law by President Joe Biden on December 23rd, which I will highlight here, in 2021. Let me blow this up a little bit for you in case anybody can't see like me. Okay, here we go. So you can see that President Joe Biden on December 23rd, 2021, signed this act into law. Okay. Everything doesn't happen right away, but this act went into effect June 21st, 2022. Okay. This is an abbreviated version of the whole bill that came through altogether. But it basically, like I said before, it allows our customs service, U.S. Customs Service, to block any imports from China that are believed to have been manufactured, used by slave labor from this region of China. It doesn't state that it has to have absolute proof or anything like that, but there's some type of, I don't know how you call it, hunch, guess, whatever the case may be. If it came shipped out of there, that might be a good a red flag. If the shipping label comes from out of that area, that could be it. But I would think that the Chinese government would be a little smarter not to label something to come out of that area of the country. And like I say, about the time it reaches the east coast of China, I'm sure labels can be reapplied or just switched altogether, knowing they're going to be shipped out to American shores or flown out. And that's what I want to talk about right now is when we talk about ports of entry, we're not just, 'cause a lot of times we think about ports, we think about just the shipping comes in from Florida, Baltimore, New York. Here on the West Coast, we talk about Washington, San Francisco, LA, Long Beach, as major ports. You got ports that come in, shipping ports in the parts of South Texas, Louisiana, Florida, on both sides from the Gulf part and off the Atlantic. So, but also our ports of entry include our borders from Canada and from Mexico. Every airport that brings in imports is a port of entry here in the United States. So when something gets signed into law, you would figure that every port of entry would be notified and instructed in how to apply this act. This is the act that was signed into law by the president, approved by Congress, both the House and the Senate. It is on the books. It has been on the books in effect since June 21st, 2022. And I talk about it like this because if we are applying this law equally across the board, the last drone we should have seen from DJI, Autel, or any number of toy drone manufacturers from China should have been stopped, like I say, June 21st, 2022, which I think would have been right about the time that the Mini 3 or Mini 4 might have came out for DJI. Any more shipments of Autel drones would have been stopped coming into the country. There would have been no way other drones could have made it in. But it just seemed quite odd to me that nothing I'm saying anything special about the DJI Mavic 3S. It is, like I said, it's just another drone on the line of consumer level drones. So I don't see anything spectacular about it or anything dangerous about this drone. It is usually just what we call increment steps from the DJI Mavic 3, which is increment steps from the 2S, increment steps from the Mavic 2. So I don't see why all of a sudden this act was activated or put into use upon this timetable. As you see here, like I said again, June 21st, 2022 is when all these activities should have been ceased. And even in the act, it doesn't specify any particular companies or any particular products. It just says any products. It says right here, I'll go up here to the other, it says right here in this sentence, on the importation of goods into the United States manufactured wholly or in part with forced labor in the People's Republic of China, especially from the, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, XUAR region. Okay? So, like I tell people all the time, I look here in my office space here, these cameras that you're looking at me at, even though it's an anchor camera here, anchor camera there, I have the microphone here. No, that actually the microphone came out of Australia. It's a Rhodes. But most of the electronics that I have sitting in my desk within reach of my arms, all made in China. But none one of them. And there's some products here I'm using that I have purchased since 2022. And not one of them were stopped by customs as illegal imported goods. So this is why the confusion I'm looking at, and with my law enforcement background, this is something we would call selective enforcement, to where we are focused on certain areas of the city, maybe certain crimes that occur within a city. We never want to say certain individuals, but individuals who may be participating in certain crimes, or even sometimes it's a reduced act of maybe we want to slow down things because the jail's getting full. So they said be selective in who you want to drag down to the station to get locked up. So we've had those kind of speeches before too. But like I said, I'm just trying to get an idea of why this occurred, and how it was occurred. And this is me just trying to connect a few dots. If you know anything of what's been going on in several states in our country here in the U.S., Florida is a state that is anti-Chinese drone itself. It has an anti-Chinese drone ban within the state for their first responders. And I just thought it was kind of odd, or very curiously, that this confiscation or held up in U.S. Customs of this drone happened in a state that has a ban on Chinese drones on it. So that didn't go over well, because you and I both know we have watched other influencers, other reviewers on YouTube, Facebook, whatever platform you might use, X or TikTok or whatever, talking about the X3X, the Mavic 3 Air S, I'm sorry. And all these people got their drones right around the same time that Ken Dono's drone was supposed to show up. So all these drones are pre-saled drones that came in. So it wasn't that there was a status of a purchase. These were drones sent directly from the parent company, DJI, to these individuals for reviewing purposes. So what's the difference between somebody who lives in Michigan, somebody who lives in Texas, another guy was in Utah, another guy here in California, another guy in Pennsylvania? I say, what made whatever shipping situation change for them that theirs were not flagged at their ports of entry, no matter how they got here? Like I said, all of our airports, borders, and actual shipping ports are all ports of entry, and they all fall under United States Customs when we have imports from other countries. So as I'm saying now is, how come only one port got the memo and nobody else got it? And that's what the odd thing to me is. Nobody else got it, because appears that a lot of other places got it. Now, as this thing is unfolding, I see that even some of the retailers have not received their shipment yet, which is, even though we know DJI and other companies of late have been putting things off a couple of weeks for shipping, which is very odd, especially for DJI. Usually when they announce a new product, it's already stateside 3 or 4 weeks ahead of the release date. So that way, when people order on the release date, it is shipping from the warehouses here in California, warehouses out of Arizona, Texas, and even a couple of warehouses on the East Coast, so people can get that product in their hands on the release date. That has been their practice in the past. Now, all of a sudden, here's this 2 or 3 week waiting period, after the so-called release date or the introductory date of this new product. This is something that other manufacturers usually do, and it's almost like a GoFundMe situation where they feel like they can get enough orders to get the product out, and you may have to wait up to almost a month to receive the drone, which has never been something I was very supportive of. I'm one of them people, if I buy something, I want it that day. That's just me. But my biggest thing here is that these type of tactics don't bode well for the drone industry, the drone community. It's one thing for a large portion of us who are consumer, or I say recreational flyers, to where most of you buy your drones off Amazon, Best Buy, other retailers that you go to. People like myself who are enterprise users, I would say out of the 8 drones that I have in my fleet, half of those drones were purchased through resellers. Okay. And like I say, I've only owned one drone I bought from a Best Buy, and that was a Spark. Everything else I bought from resellers. And I'm gonna say how this harms resellers, because these guys are brick and mortar places. All they do is sell drones, period. And I'm going to show you examples of some of these locations, and you see what they sell. The first one I'm going to show you is called DSLR Pros. They are a West Coast reseller. They do sell some other items, but drones is their bread and butter. And as you see here, this is their page here. Okay. And you see on this page, out of the pictures they're advertising on their website, you see DJI Dock, Mavic 3T, Retrieve 350 bundle, and then you got thermal drones where they're showing the Teledyne drone. Okay. Going through their inventory, the first row of drones here, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 5 DJI drones. Got one Autel Evo Max T, which also could fall under this customs hold or ban or whatever you want to call it. Then we have the first American-made drone, Teledyne FLIR, American-made drone, out of the next row, which is 1 out of 5 drones on their page. This is what they sell. Okay. You don't see no Neos up here. You don't see no Air 3Ss. You don't see none of the consumer level drones. These are all enterprise drones that they offer. Okay. If you look at the prices, $9,000, $3,000 for Mavic 3 Enterprise. Okay. $4,000 for the for a different care package. The Fly Cart, 20 grand. We go back up here to, what was the one I think I saw? The Evo, 8 grand for that, and so forth. All right. This is the industry they support. Public safety, energy, agriculture, construction. That's what they support. So you see right there what their main customer base is. So if U.S. Customs are using this law to keep DJI drones out, or any Chinese-made drones out, how's it going to affect their business? Okay. We're going to go over to DroneWorks. First thing you see at DroneWorks, DJI Avata 2. Okay. You go to the page, they got the Air 3 Fly More Combo. Got advertising. They got the action camera. And guess what? That means the action camera may not show up either. Chinese made. They got Neos. They got some other drop kits for enterprise level. And they got the Anzul Raptor T. Something there. So once again, if I go down to their drones, a list of what drones, prosumer, professional drones, enterprise drones, well, prosumer drones are going to be the high-end, the higher-end drones. Like I said, they got a bunch of Avatas for public safety gear. They got the 3S supposed to be on sale. It says, and they're announcing pre-orders. Okay. Pre-order. They got the Neo. So if these get blocked out, they got a line for Evos, Lights, Nanos. And I'm going to go down here to, because these are all mostly a DJI and Autel. So we scratch those out so they can't get brought into the company. Let's look at a professional drone list. Inspire series, DJI. Okay. Let's look at their list of enterprise drones that might be able to make it in. Anzu Robotics. Autels could be blocked. Block. DJI. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Block. Then we have the Teledyne FLIR. The Paradanafi. The Ag Eagle EB. Inspire Flight. And then they have some underwater rovers. Okay. As you say, you don't see no consumer drones. And like I say, it limits the amount what you can do as an enterprise operator. Or what's available. The Paradanafi doesn't even have a thermal camera that meets the standard these days of 512 640. They're still going by the old standards. Okay. The Eagle B, let me bring this up. This is a straight mapping drone, period. It doesn't do nothing else. And that means you got actual add in, I believe, another camera system that go with it. They don't even list what the cost of this thing is. All right. Another pretty well known one, Drone Nerds. Okay. This is their page. Go to their page. What you see here, first thing you see is DJI products on their page. And I'm going to go on to the bottom of their page because I remember, DJI Enterprise, Drone Nerds, their products. We'll go to the consumer level, see what pops up. And they got the DJI Mini 3 camera drone. They got the RTK module. All these things potentially could not be shipped or should not have been shipped since 2022. Okay. That's why it's kind of odd that the Neo's still fairly new. Everybody got that. But technically to this law, it never should have got entered into the country here in the U.S. Okay. So this is the biggest thing is that this is, and we'll go to another company here. This is Still City. You see you guys do a lot of videos, but they mainly, enterprise drones is their bread and butter. And DJI is the bread and butter on their enterprise drones. Those are the things they sell the most of. Those are the things they most get orders for. On the West Coast, we got Blue Sky drones. Same thing. You see on their page, DJI stuff. You see some ROVs, underwater drone stuff there. They have this other thing here, the IF-800 Tomcat. I think it's on their blue list and stuff. One drone that you got to, I think they may have a camera system built in for it, but I think it doesn't actually come with one. It might be something you may have to purchase also, because I don't think it comes standard with a camera, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So that's their bread and butter right there. So as I was saying that not only is it just an inconvenience for us as the recreational flyer, but those of us who are in the enterprise level, those people who have brick and mortar stores who primarily sell drones, period, this is crushing. Even the potential of it is crushing. Because who knows when is going to be the next time Customs is going to use this type of tactic to satisfy those at the federal level. I've seen the little brief that was put out by the drone committee in Washington. Basically, if they would have kept quiet, it probably would have served them much better. But they did open their mouths and put out the most ambiguous and unintelligible piece of document they possibly could come up with. And they're also, it's basically, they're trying to pat themselves on the back when they had nothing actually to do with this. And I don't know who called who said what, but I just go back to the point that this has only happened at one port primarily. And there's not been another notification off of a port anywhere else in the country as of this airing that a drone or drones themselves have been held by the U.S. Customs Office at a port of entry. So this makes it real odd in my story. But my thing is that this is why we have to continue to contact our elected officials about this, about the CCP Act, the First Responders Act, and whatever else. And now they slid this in underneath our noses, and here it is. Because I mean, that's why I call it backdoor tactics. This law has been on the books since 2022, and now in 2024 it gets sprung into action. So that's why it's even more essential that we continue to make our voices heard to our elected officials. This is not a left issue or a right issue. This is our total government issue. That there is something other than trying to promote American manufacturing, which I support that to a certain extent, but you got to have something for me to support. That's what the real problem is. You don't have nothing to support individuals who are into this hobby or into this industry as resellers, as actual enterprise flyers and operators like myself. There is nothing out there that is comparable on pricing and features and technology across the board. Either we're going to pay anywhere from 2 to 3, 5 times more for American product, if there's even one that even comes to the same specs and capabilities of what we're getting now. Sometimes that's not a workable option. Most of us are operating on shoestring budgets, just trying to get into the game and going from there. We don't really have large corporations like a GMC, Ford, a Chrysler. We don't have large corporations that are spitting these things out. Okay, it's very small companies for the most part that you can probably fit the whole upper management in somebody's 1,500 square foot home. So everybody's running on shoestrings here, trying to survive, trying to get a small piece of the pie that is out there. Drones have shown themselves of being very essential in the industry, construction, first responders, energy industry. You name it, where drones have been, they have always been successful. They've always made things safer for everyone involved. So this is my little rant about this, and like I say, I throw my support out there to all those resellers. I haven't heard too much from a lot of other ones, but this is really a gut punch, because the potential of what this is could basically shut down a lot of these mom and pop operations that have been the lifeline to enterprise users like myself. Because one of the stipulations is that for the agreement between DJI and some of the people here in the United States is that DJI only sold those enterprise drones to the resellers, and they turned around and sold them to people like me. A lot of times you could not buy an enterprise drone directly from DJI. That I had to go to. I have bought drones from Drone Nerds, Drone Works. I bought accessories from DSLR Pros. I have gotten information from Steel City Drones, talked with those people. So these are folks I have interacted with personally, and I thank them for providing this, I would say, conduit for me to be able to get information, for me to get products, for me to get service when my drones need to get serviced. You know, sometimes I have to send it back to people like these because they provide that service for enterprise level. So this is really, like I say, a gut punch to those of us who are in the enterprise level. And like I say, across the drone community as a whole, like I say, the Mavic Mavic Air 3S is not even an enterprise level drone. And they're playing games like this. So this is Dre. We cover one drones. Hey, as I always say, hang on, enjoy the ride. Please subscribe. Talk to you guys later. Bye.